Last but not least is that to live a Torah life means that you're living a life with a purpose at all times. And if you look at the world around you, most people are living a life without a purpose. They wake up in the morning to go eat, to go work. They do whatever it is fun for them. Usually has to do with some type of lust, some type of desire, and that's it. You ask them, what do you want to do in the future? In so many words, more of what they're doing already now. Eat, drink, make money so they can eat more and drink more, sleep more and drink more, and in so many words, not very different than the animals that occupy the world. Once problems start happening, they don't really have many answers. Why? Because they ate, they drank the same every single day, and all of a sudden problems appear, so they don't really know why the problems happen in their life. You ask them what happens after, what's the purpose of life? Until now, they thought that it's just to eat and drink and have fun. When a person lives with HaKadosh Baruch Hu as his primary and priority in his life, that means he's not only living life with a purpose every single day, but he also has answers to every question that could possibly exist, because he has the source of where all of these problems come from, where all of the good comes from, where all of the future comes from, where all of the past comes from. And even if the source is something that he doesn't understand, he doesn't understand why it came, he always knows the address, he knows where it came. And that's the key. So when you're living a life with a purpose, that's a life that's requires a lot more thought. So you're thinking on a lot more details than your average person is thinking, that's just living life like some wildebeest. The wildebeest that lives in the field, he doesn't think about what's going to be the weather in 6 months from now, and he doesn't think about whether his kids are going to find shidduchim. He's just thinking about if he could just grab some food right now, and hopefully the lion doesn't catch him. That's what he's thinking about. He lives in the world. A person that's living with a purpose thinks not just what I'm doing, what are my kids doing, who are they going to marry, am I going to have the ability to do it, am I close enough to Hashem, there's Judgment Day, there's Sukkot, there's Chanukah, there's constantly stuff going, constantly stuff connecting you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, constantly stuff connecting you to that original source, and it forces you to think. And that's more difficult. In general, it's more difficult, but at the same token, if you look at it from the right perspective, it's more meaningful. So it's not that the religious people will suffer more than the secular people. There are many times the secular people will suffer just as much or more. But it's the religious person is really supposed to have more explanations and more reasons for his suffering, because his suffering has more value. And I think that if you look at the overall picture of someone that's really dedicated to Torah versus anybody else in the world, the richest people in the world, poorest people in the world, whatever you want, there's no comparison. Because one has happiness, the other one has stuff. And happiness is worth a whole lot more than all the stuff, because usually when you ask those people, why do you have all that stuff? They acquired it because they were looking for happiness. They got it, and they're still missing happiness. So that's the difference.